Oh, we're back again. Welcome back to another episode of Lay of the Land. I have a very, very special guest, Angie Lang. Thank you for coming on the show. But I brought you on, and I'm extremely thankful for your time, first and foremost. But I brought you on because I think it's important right now in the climate that we have in the market so our creative following can understand processes, what you're seeing as far as like insights on digital marketing, project management, and account management. But can you give the audience, the listeners, the viewers, a little snippet of what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, Jay, thank you so much for, asking me to join. Glad to be here. But, just from a day-to-day basis, it kind of varies on what our clients are actually looking for and everything. I know what I do we really focus in, identifying talent within like the digital traditional marketing spaces, UI, UX design, as well as product and project management, and anything that falls underneath those, core pillars. My day to day is, essentially I'm going on and, meeting with hiring managers and kind of getting the lay of their land so I can properly identify what they're looking for. That goes from anywhere to like the group environment, what tools they're using, what project initiatives they have coming up, their pipelines, and what they're really needing, like their resource for. And then I utilize that and then go on any assorted job boards and kind of, go on LinkedIn is really what I mainly use and kind of identify people who are actually, kind of the fit of what that team's looking for by, putting in a specific search, keywords that I am having that, most roles, if they're looking for the same thing, if they've been in that, position before, they'll have the keywords and like those little buzzwords in their resumes or like profiles.
There's so many layers I want to, peel back, but just from, just given the climate with the layoffs and things of that nature, how important is the resumes and portfolios when, submitting candidates to hiring managers or stakeholders?
Okay. So I think, from when I'm reaching reviewing profiles or like resumes and everything, if they look good on paper, I think that's really good. But if they're really up to date and like trendy, I feel like that's, very clean and crisp portfolios that stick out and have, very easily to navigate through and see what they've done. I think that's actually very helpful depending on the role that the manager's hiring for. But I think also like on top of that, you can look great on paper, but how are you, when I have a conversation, we schedule a call and I have a conversation with you, how are you going to, sell yourself to me based on, looking good on paper? But if you can sell yourself to me, then you can definitely sell yourself on an interview. And it's more about soft skills on top of that, which is kind of hard to get off of it, all of that. So I think with everything put together, it's, very important, but with all factors in there.
So what are some of the, examples, or you don't have to give names, but what are what is a red flag to you as far as candidates that you've interviewed with, before submitting to, hiring managers? What's a big red flag for you?
I think red flags is just not being able to, when I ask like what they've done in their previous, roles or anything.
Skills, let's stay there.
And they tell me, well, you have my resume in front of you. That kind of is like, oh, yes, I do have your resume in front of you. I do have your resume in front of me, but I want to hear it from word of mouth. Like, explain to me, like, what was the best part? What was the one thing, like one project that sticks out that you really enjoyed doing? What teams did you interact with? How did you interact with them? So I can kind of get a better understanding because I'm trying to partner with that person as well. So it's more so of like building that, professional relationship. So I know what they've done. So I can go back to my hiring managers I work with and let them know, if they give me any, kickback on, they're not interested. So I can push back on them and just have a conversation because I actually believe in you. It's more of, building that partnership as well as me like helping you. Like, it's more like I'm doing your dirty work for you to like get you in front of a manager and like do all that. So it's just, there is a lot of that goes into it, but I think of the biggest red flag would be, well, don't you have my resume in front of you? I do get that sometimes. I'm like, well, yeah, I just would like to get to know you a little bit better.
So let's stay there. So I feel like, especially during this times that we're going through right now, it's like interview fatigue, right? Like they've been interviewing, they've been getting rejected. Can you like distinguish that, as you're talking to the candidate, like, oh, are you tired? What's going on? Do you keep a candid conversation with them to kind of dive deep?
Well, I do like to see, I dive deep by asking like, so how is the job search going, and kind of gauge like where they're at in their like search overall. And they don't really, just due to the climate, most of the people I talk to are actually, they're used to it. It's not, they don't have much fatigue. So I haven't really had the fatigue part of it, but, they have the trends that they haven't gotten any feedback, and why they haven't, gotten additional calls or additional interviews, which, from a recruiter, like from a recruitment standpoint, I think it's very important. So we can utilize that to coach people for like future, interviews. Like, is there anything specific from an interview that, didn't put them in the mix, or like that cut them out? So we can give that feedback to them so they can kind of, practice and utilize, that for future opportunities.
Nice. So what are some of the, the general tools, right, in the creative space that, and I know it's subjective to the role, right, but what is some of the tools that certain consultants or candidates should be up to date on?
Well, I know mainly in the creative, I've been very like focused within the, marketing space. So like tools that I've noticed that it just depends on the role, or skills to have would be, Marketo is one, HubSpot, any sort of, paid search, like ad ops experience, SEO, SEM. It just depends on which route you're going on. But, I utilize LinkedIn a lot for that to kind of gauge like what's up and trending as well from like the marketing perspective. And I know when it comes to, anything else like project management, any sort of like CRM tools, like, or like a Workfront, to manage projects through like the life cycle and everything. It's more of like standard, work tools, but just kind of keeping up to date with the new golden ticket one, I guess, for, because most companies will probably try to implement the newest tool to get things moving properly.
Absolutely. So Angie, I was on a call yesterday, right? And I was getting some insight on in the UX space, right? And there was 50-50, I would say, experiences with recruiters. I'm not going to name any names about establishments that are out there, but what I was hearing was, recruiters ghosting the consultants and not giving them feedback. Like, are you seeing that often, or, have you had that experience in your past, and what have you done to rectify?
Well, I feel like sometimes from like a recruitment standpoint, we are like always scheduling calls. We're very busy throughout the day. If you are getting ghosted, shoot an email, send a text or something, because most likely they'll respond back quicker. Sometimes things do fall through the crack because we have, it's just like a road. It's just always like ongoing. It's kind of hard to just keep up with everything like 100% and be like that. So, I always try to like follow up. If I see, somebody I'm working with will reach out to me and ask for an update, I will respond back right away because, I'm either on the phone, but I can, do both. And I feel like, just trying to be more prompt. My approach is just to be very direct and transparent, because that will just help, everyone. Like, it's my job to help anyone that's looking for a role or a new opportunity. So I feel that it's my responsibility to be transparent so they can grow from any sort of like feedback, or I try to get as much detailed feedback if, sometimes the client just doesn't respond and just says not a fit, or, need additional candidates. And we might not always have additional, more detailed feedback, but it's a case to case thing.
Absolutely. So maybe I won't let the secret out, but I learned about a certain platform that when a certain type of UX, professional, how they, go about seeking different opportunities. And basically what they were saying was they use a specific platform other than LinkedIn to go find another opportunity, is because they're working within their network, and it's a close niche network. And then that's how they're able to find that next opportunity faster. Right. So what are you seeing far as like, with the big Twitter layoffs, the Meta layoffs? Is your network kind of like, are they communicating? Are you seeing stuff on the timeline? What are you seeing?
Well, I will say that, everyone in the creative industry has some sort like a bigger network that from their career, just depends on where they're located at too. But I will say, when somebody does come in actively looking for a role, they will be utilizing their network and, because find their next opportunity as quickly as possible. Not everybody wants to have like that gap in their resume, or, they don't want to go a long time without staying on top of, current trends and being hands-on with them as well. So, it is a common thing, and that would probably be the first thing I would do too, is utilize my network and then outsource as well. And then on top of that, search myself. I mean, when it comes to this like market, that's what you kind of have to do.
Now, how big is, permanent placement? Obviously, people want the stability, but are you seeing any trends with like contract work or contract to permanent position?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's ideal situation is to direct hire. But I also think, if you're trying to break into a new industry or just trying to, get a paycheck while you do find their, contract is ideal, but it's also kind of trying before you buy it, because basically you might have heard of a company before and not really understand or like really know what they do or like how the work environment's going to be. Like most contracts do have the potential to either be extended or converted unless stated up front. And most of the time from a recruitment standpoint, we will know that it's just going to be, an X amount of months and then no possibility to convert or extend. But most clients will try to extend and or convert. It just is a longer timeline. But then at that point, you're, somebody's working, getting the lay of the land and, learning everything and, ramping up. And at that point, it's your decision. It's just trying before you buy, because, once it ends, you might be like, that's not for me. So it kind of helps, if you wanted to kind of grow outside just a specific industry, more of like a hands-on experience with what you like and what you don't like.
So how big is a company's culture versus compensation? Like, are you seeing that candidates really want the company's culture, or is it the compensation that matters?
I feel like since going remotely and COVID has happened, I feel like it's more about culture over compensation sometimes, but then it just depends on that person. So that's, when I talk to everyone, I'm like, what's your main motivator? Like, why is money more of a motivator for you? Or do you want a way better work-life balance, not always grinding and just like be, very interactive and a dynamic environment? Or do you want both? Like what, and that's just kind of, when I have those conversations and they're, a little detailed and long-winded, I guess that's what I want to know. So I can, so I know what this company is like, and then that, like, what they expect. But recently, most of our clients or any like companies are going more towards like a better like work-life balance and not just always on the grind, and, understand that there is life outside of work and we have responsibilities.
Is this still a consultant's market, or is this more of an employer's market as far as like leveraging, negotiation and things of that nature? It's still competitive? I
mean, I feel like it would still be competitive. I know since there have been like companies doing layoffs and everything. And, with layoffs, that means that's definitely like a hard question. I feel like it's just open-ended because it could change tomorrow. I know it's kind of like just a weird time, and it's just having patience, I think, to go from that. I know that it was the, candidates market. So if you're looking for a job, it was your choice. But now I think it's kind of in the even playing field, because you might have been, looking for something specific, but then companies are doing layoffs where you can't be so selective as you once were.
Absolutely. So what are some of the like trends that you're seeing possibly for 23, like Q1? Is there anything that, you're like bracing for, like inundated, clients or consultants that are going to come in and wanting to fill a certain type of role? Is it, how is the flow annually from your experience?
Well, from my experience, I will say the common trends that I've always seen, that's always very consistent, is UI, UX design, project management, any graphic, and like some motion sometimes, just depending on the client and, the industry. But marketing, like any MarTech or, integrated marketing experience, account management, campaign management, that's like it's always a need. I feel or like even programmatic and like media, like buying and strategy type roles are what I anticipate seeing for 2023. Really.
Gotcha. So what are some transferable skills? Like if you're going from retail to tech and in a project management role, is that really an easy transition, or is that kind of hard?
I think it's easy. It just depends, what the overall project initiatives are for like the client. Most of the times I feel like for project management, it's, driving a lot of, like the project deliverables, same tools, most likely in like some sort of, agile environment, and being able to, collaborate with multiple teams to ensure that they're hitting deadlines. It's just understanding, the terminology and technologies, I think, when it comes down to it.
Nice. So what are you not looking forward to for 23?
What am I not looking? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not looking forward to anything. I think because it's been kind of, very stagnant right now. I'm excited for it to start picking up again and, meeting with different managers and, having more opportunities to assist and find candidates jobs, talent jobs in general. I think that's what I'm most excited. I don't think I'm not excited. I'm excited for it to not be stagnant anymore.
Right. Bring it on.
Let's go.
Right. So one last thing, are you seeing any difference as far as like hybrid to remote jobs, or is it still pretty much the same thing as, remote jobs are the cream of the crop?
Oh, like a 50-50, really. It just depends, because I know some companies are going back into a hybrid environment from like anywhere from 1 to 2 days, or, just come travel to as needed to one of their hub locations for meetings. I am anticipating to see how it goes in 2023 though, but who knows? I think that was the big part of why it was the talents market, because everything was remote previously too. So I'm excited to kind of see how it kind of starts to transition as well. So.
Awesome. And any last words as far as, you want to give advice to consultants or candidates looking for their next gig? I
mean, utilize your resources, like, your network, but also don't be afraid to work with the recruiter if you're, blindly reached out to and everything. We want to be a partner. We actually probably see jobs before they're even posted on might be posted on a company website, but before they're on any sort of job board. We want to help and make sure that you're finding the right role. And we have, we have a network as well with direct hiring managers. So you kind of utilize us as your little back pocket tool that can help speed up the process a little bit as well, because we have that direct relationship and contact.
Awesome, Angie. Well, thank you so much. And that is the lay of the land.
Thank you. It was great. I appreciate it.